Alright, hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something pretty similar but kind of different. Today we're going to be working on channel art. So last time we went ahead and rendered out this whole thing here. Let's switch over to the default one just so we can kind of see this a bit better. So we went ahead and rendered out this entire sequence in the animation where it goes around here like that, and it turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it except for a couple things. Let me see if I can find those things exactly. So right here where it switches from rotating around it to pulling up, it does like a weird like double hitch kind of thing. So like I think it's about right here. It looks downward fast, which is a new motion that it's not used to. So from here to here, just this part where it starts looking down, it feels a little bit unnatural. And then right here, it starts pulling up a lot faster, which feels strange. So if you go ahead and look at the actual final product, let me pull it up here really quickly. You can kind of see those two moments where I'm talking about right there and right there. It's just boom, boom. It feels a little unnatural, so I'm gonna have to go back and work on the camera work, or hopefully, I'm not sure, but I think it'll be fine once I put music in. So for now though, we're gonna leave this. There are some things that I do want to change to this. The first one being that after this, I feel like it doesn't stay on screen long enough. Like you have this part, and it kind of like introduces the logo, but it's 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds before you actually really see the logo, and after that there's like another 2.5 seconds where you actually see the logo. And I'd like this part to last a bit longer because I really like the effect in the background where that kind of like brings it up. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add some time onto the end of the sequence and get that all fixed up later, not this time. And then another thing I want to do is fade the lights out on this. So in the beginning you can see that it starts faded out and then fades in because I bring up the lights. I want to bring the lights down and then have just the accents here stay on screen. But for now, what we're going to do is, because we have kind of the final draft of the actual logo itself, we can go ahead and start making some channel art, which is going to be the goal for today, is to get some channel art done, both for the YouTube channel. Currently, let me see if I can pull it up here. You don't need to see that stuff. YouTube.com. Okay, I think that's it. And then let's just go to my, no, that's not what I wanted. If I go to my channel here. Okay, so this is what people should see when they jump in. So right now this is my profile picture, which is outdated because obviously now I'm using the orange and on a blue background instead of the yellow accents on a black background. So that needs to be edited, changed. I think I'm gonna probably just keep the same like O as my logo for now anyway. At some point that will change and I will get something better, because I mean I like it and it's good and it's simple, but at the same time I'd kind of like something a little sharper personally. Then the other thing is this right here, this nice little thing that I have rendered, which is also coincidentally my background on my desktop, as well as the where is it, Discord, the server logo for my Discord server. So yeah, I mean I really like it, and I think it's really cool personally, but I would like to change some stuff up, because I mean it's cool, but it doesn't really fit. Like I really like it and I like it as my background, but having it on every other thing that I have is a little bit excessive at the best. So we are going to go ahead and exit out of that, jump back in here, and we'll start making some stuff. So this one's going to be a bit different. I'm not going to time lapse this, unless it's like for a specific thing that it's going to just take a lot of tweaking, because I kind of want to explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So the first thing to do is to, switch my mouse over to the right profile. So my mouse has a lot of profiles, and I use different ones for gaming as compared to like rendering and stuff like that. So the first thing to do is try to finalize this background, because right now the way it's set up, I have it keyed to this is really complicated. There's a lot of vertices. Basically what I did is I keyframed all the different vertices. Granted, I did this quicker. Like, this wasn't just a keyframe every single one, but I keyframed them so that they move up or down randomly. Or no, just upwards, a certain amount. So what I need to do is I need to come in here and grab all of those points here, and what I need to do is I need to either drag them out or something like that. So I believe all of these right here are the okay. So this is actually going to be kind of complicated, I feel. So each one of these points has an X, Y, and Z location keyframed. And this is the list, and it goes on for pretty much forever. So, shut up, phone. Okay. So all of the, they're different. They're all different. So if I were to just come in here, let's get rid of some of this stuff. And I were to just grab all of this and grab it up. Yeah, okay, so that changes more than I want it to be. This stuff I think is just the Z. So let's go ahead and actually get a different one. Yeah, so it looks like this stuff right here is the stuff that I want to be changing. So I think I'm going to add another, just to be safe. Well, let's see. So right now it's running at 60 FPS for 30 seconds. That means it's 5 seconds. This will totally, end up being, yeah, 5 seconds. Okay. So if I want to add another second, I'm going to have to add another 60 frames. But I want to go for more like 3 seconds, which is 3 times 6, which is some number, which is 180. So I'm going to go ahead and just go to 500, expand this out to 500. So now what I'm going to do is, this is actually going to be kind of hard, but you know what? Yeah, I should be able to make this work just fine. So if I grab this over, actually if I scale these just on the Y, okay, yeah, that does what I want it to. So if I grab these, I can't do that, or can I? Move them to the current frame? That just did some really wonky stuff there, so we're not going to do that. We're just going to grab this manually and move it over. And hope that it lines up. We have the cursor here, so yeah, we can just manually line that up. Perfect. Now let's just go ahead and scale it on the Y a bit to kind of exaggerate some of these curves. Let's actually jump into this head-on view so we can see exactly how much we're changing it. Actually, this might not be the best view, because honestly, like, it doesn't matter if it looks like this, because the big thing is how it looks here. That actually looks super dope, like crazy cool. I really like that. That looks super cool. But that is unfortunately not the look we're going for. So let's go ahead and undo that. And just kind of like play around with how much we can scale it up without it looking wonky. Because I mean, like, obviously, yeah, I could do this and have it just like absolutely, crazy, but I don't want it to be to the point where it's like super obvious that like it's taller than it is wide. It's like if we look at this, some of these are actually taller than they are wide at this point. So that could actually be a small problem. Let's just go ahead and scale it up. Maybe 1.5. See how that looks. That looks all right, I think. I think that looks decent. So let's go ahead and undo that. Let's bring in our logo and the lighting for that. So as it comes around here, already once you're here, you're going to see some of the different stuff. Which honestly I think is probably fine. I think in the original one it was still flat until about here. Like when it comes up, okay, let's go ahead and turn off the render and just play this, just so we can kind of get a feel for how much it changes. So it goes all the way through there. I honestly don't know. So it goes up about here is when it fades in. So right here, see, I feel like it's fading too slowly here. So let's go ahead and scale this out a bit so we get a more consistent growth. Maybe scale this 2 or 3 times. Let's go with 3 for now. We can always undo that if I decide I don't like that. So right here when it switches from going up to that kind of like slow out, let's see where we're sitting. Okay, so that's a pretty modest thing right there. There's no sharp contrast just yet, but then pretty quickly, yeah, that's starting to grow out. Okay, and then let's check the final frame. Yeah, the final frame looks good. Okay, so I think let's go ahead and keep that. Let's go ahead and save this. And now that we kind of have the background figured out, we can go ahead and do some channel art. So there are a couple options here. I could, first off, I could just take this last shot, render this out, and then use this as my channel art. Which I mean I could, and it'd be really easy. But I would like to go a little further, go a bit above and beyond, try to make this look just beautiful, you know? So I would like to add in some sort of glow around here, just because, I don't know, I still am kind of wanting to tweak the color of the text, the non-highlighted text, just because I don't know, I kind of want something a bit lighter, but at the same time, like something darker could look really good too. So let's actually go ahead and jump into the compositive window here. Let's go ahead and keep this on its normal background, just because, you know, this is what I'm going to be looking at it on when it's done. So yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and grab this guy, so we have the right texture for this. Let's go ahead and move this up here, duplicate it down. Actually, let's check some of the other colors that I already had. Okay, so that, I really like that, but I feel like that white is way too bright. Way too bright. That one looks basically identical, so let's go ahead and just... black looks really cool, but I don't think I can do just an absolute white like this or an absolute black like this. If I was going to do one, it would have to be close to it, but not like 100% on it. Like, I feel like that is pretty good. Like, that's a far cry from being totally white like this, where it just loses all form of texture, but it still is bright enough to tell, like, yeah, that's white. So I really like that, I really do, but I feel like it becomes the accent more than the orange does. The orange becomes the normal color, and then the white's just kind of an accent. Or, I don't know. I don't really know that I want it that bright. Like, I could still do something bright, like maybe even a bit brighter than this. Like that looks good. I do like that. But at the same time, it makes the orange seem dark when compared to this white. That's more what I meant, not that the orange becomes no longer the accent. The other option we have is we could go down towards the black, but not actually hit it. And I mean, it looks really cool, but on that blue background, it does look a little bit strange. One thing about that, though, just because this is so much darker than that, if we render this out, it should actually, let me turn down the renders, because this is still from when I was doing the my like final run through, which I always do at a higher quality just so I can see everything and make sure that everything looks good. But because just the way the scene is set up here, if you look at this, we have, oh gosh, this is being terrible. Okay, so if we bring it to transparent, so we have this bowl here that I made in the last episode, which serves just to make it so there's no weird horizon clipping around the edges of this. Even my mouse is lagging. Oh boy. Have I dropped frames? Yes, I am dropping frames like crazy right now. Okay, well, that's fine. It's not like I'm doing anything with super high motion. Let's go ahead and zoom out and see exactly where this is. But if you look at this, I have this. If I look at just the second one, I have the backgrounds, the two different ones, the one that changes, and then the static just like horizon eliminator, and then I have two lamps here. Then for my lighting one, I have all of these. How many is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? I counted that wrong. There's 9. Okay. There's 9 that light up the actual lettering on the logo itself. But when you put them all in the same layer like this, you can render them and look at them together. The lights meant for the lettering actually shine onto the background and make that lighter. But when I actually render it, I have it set up in a way. Let me just kind of explain this. So the way I have it rendering, I have it rendered to different render layers. So when it renders, it actually renders twice. The first time, it renders this layer right here, which is these two layers right here. This is what it includes, and then it excludes anything on the other layers. So what this does basically is it says, okay, so this first box here, this first thing, so these are all different scenes that I have that I can store things in. Right now I'm using the first 3. Those are the ones that I have highlighted, so you can see that's what's there. So it's having it render everything that's in those first 3 scenes. But for this specific layer, so this one just like enables it. So if this one has them all rendered, but I only have the top row selected, it'll only render the top row. Just a little bit of stuff. So then the layer one here, it chooses which ones get rendered. So anything not on those won't get rendered. It'll be like I had it deselected here. And then anything here, it will actually exclude and like ignore stuff from it. So like for lighting for example, the lighting, it will render it. So basically what this does is it says render this image as if it's like this, because it only has these two selected, and then exclude everything else. Then the masking layer, what it'll do is it'll look at other layers, and if there's something in front of it, it won't render the stuff behind that, and it'll kind of render an empty space, so when you overlay them, it just looks better, stuff like that. But so the moral of that story, or the reason of that story, is that the background is a lot lighter here than it is in the final cut, or the final render, because I have the lights from the lettering shining onto the background as well. So that's why you see that this is so much darker in the background than this. This is the color that I'm actually going for. This gets exaggerated a little bit. But yeah, so this is what it would end up looking like, which I feel like we could actually go a bit darker and have it still look well. But I don't know. I kind of, like, part of me still wants to just leave it at this nice lighter gray. And then the other part of me, let's duplicate this. Let's see if I can find that same bright-ish white. Is 0.5 too high? I think 0.5 is too high. 0.5 is too high. Let's try 0.4. I think it was around 0.4 actually. Yeah, I do kind of like this, but at the same time, like, that's, I don't know, it feels albino almost, if you know what I mean. Like, it's too bright. So we're going to go ahead and I think just stick with this for now. Yeah. Another thing that I could do is I could actually just grab this color, input a color, RGB. There we go. And let's copy this. This is 0.15. So let's set all these to 0.15. Then that way we can save the same color for everything. Let's just get these kind of out of the way. I do kind of want to hang on to that. That's one thing that I'm weird about. Then shaders, right now it's using a diffuse, but I kind of want to try doing some of the other ones. We could, for example, do a glossy and then set that color so it just keeps the same color. And then, yeah, so that adds a lot more highlight and makes the lighting show up a lot more. However, it does add some weird rendering things to it. And I'd have to redo the lighting if I were to change this, which I don't really know that I want to do, but I really need to change that a bit. Some of the other things that I'm planning on doing actually is I'm planning on changing the accents, so like the O's, to a glass so that I can get that reflection. Okay, yeah, we're not gonna do glass, but maybe make it a glossy so you kind of have that. That's something for a later video. We'll get to that once we get to the transition stuff. For now, we're just gonna leave it like this. And now what I'm going to do is we're gonna go ahead and just render this actually at the full render. So I will jump cut forward, probably, and we'll just get this rendered real quick. Alright, so as the background finishes rendering here, it'll just take a second for it to composite over there. So this is our final image here. We're going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to put it in renders because this is a render. Just save that as new logo because it is a new logo. This is actually kind of weird. My computer rarely freezes up like this. Interesting. Oh no. Okay, we're good. We're good. Another thing I did want to play around with is I talked in earlier videos about how I could change the color of this very easily. Let's duplicate this just so I don't lose the color. But I could plug this color in, for example, or plug the blue in. But another thing that I can do here is I can actually go ahead and set this to a white, which I think makes a pretty cool effect. Just because I can then do like anything with this. And I kind of playing around with the idea a little bit of just having my channel art be the white. Especially on this blue background, I think that looks really, really sick. But again, that is on the lighter background. On the darker one, I don't know if it'll look the same. So I'm just going to leave that for now. And then we can go ahead and get out of that. Then we'll go ahead and pull these over here. These two. So this one is set up to be the result of the render, and then this one's our viewer node. So if we jump into the actual render layer thing here, this is all the stuff I used for my last intro where it was just the sunbeams. That took a lot of time to render, and yeah. So this is what I have set up right now. It's just have the two render layers, and then I'm putting this one on top of that one, and then that's what we get. So the reason there's two nodes is because lots of times you'll want to look at something in between, so I can just quickly jump over here or there and like pull up what that looks like. Let's go ahead and get these even, so they're about the same. That one's okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in an image, and this image here is going to be that image that we just rendered, the new logo, which should be in the ends right there. Okay, so that's what we have here, identical to this because that's what it just rendered. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to move this stuff down a little. One cool thing that we can do here is because we have these already rendered out, we have the two split layers, we can actually do some effects on just one or just the other. But I think we probably won't need to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this by separating out the RGBA. So here we can see the red channel, the blue channel, the No, that's the green channel. The blue channel, that looks actually pretty cool. And then our alpha, which should be totally white because we don't have anything where it's transparent. But then we can go ahead and combine this back up. That looks not at all what I want to do. And then add in the blue. And the alpha, we can pass that through, but honestly we don't need to. So then what we can do with this is we can go ahead and edit one of these by adding in a multiplier. So that's in, where is it, converter? Converter, math. So we can just add a flat number, or we can multiply, which will just bring out the red without affecting things like the background, which are entirely blue. Problem with this is that now we have a pink logo, but the real reason that I would want to do this or have this set up is that way I can add an effect on just one of these. So what we can actually do is we can go ahead and add in a, where is it? It's going to be in filter, a glare. So we're just going to add this in here, and we're going to do it off the red channel, because the red and green channels are basically the same, except you have a little bit of green in the background. So the red one is going to be most isolated for the orange, the highlights here. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this, drag it into here, and switch our viewer node over here. And we can set the mix to -1, which should be, okay, we want the processed image only, so this is what it's going to be adding. So this should go ahead and black out for us, yep. So now we're going to bring the threshold down. So basically what this does is it adds a glare, but it glares things above a certain brightness, and this brightness here, there we go, that's the threshold. So if it's at 0.5, it should cut out. No? It doesn't really matter where we set it at this point, because actually the lower we set it, the brighter it'll get until it starts picking up the rest of the lettering here. So I'm actually going to bring this down as much as I can without it picking up the rest of the stuff. Okay, so now we're starting to pick up some of the other parts of the logo, so we're going to set that back to 0.3. Then here we can choose the different things. So right now it's on streaks, which I don't really want. Simple stars, basically the same thing. So we're just going to avoid those. Ghost is a cool effect, but it's not at all what I want. Like this, especially on this logo, it looks really cool with the different, like almost the tunnel-like thing from the accent on the D. But the one that I like the most for this is just a simple fog glow. Nothing crazy. It just adds a little bit of glow around the thing. So yeah, that's all it really does. But then what we can do is we can go ahead and add this into the other things. Because this is a black and white image, yeah. So we can use this as kind of like a mask for adding in the actual glow and having it stay with this wonderful orange color. So if we were, like for example, if we were just to plug this back in here, we would probably get a pretty wonky result. If we go over to the right thing here. Yeah, so it's turned it very green because this is on 1. So let's set that back to 0. And then there you can see the glow a bit. The problem with this though is this glow is going to be 100% red, which makes this almost appear a little purpley instead of being the nice orange that I want it to be. So we can increase the size a bit to make it a bit more apparent. See, it doesn't really change it too much. It just makes it seem a little less harsh with this, but it does definitely seem a little bit purpley. So what we can go ahead and do is do the same thing here, except let's move this guy up here, except then add this in on the green channel. Set this back to 1 so we're only seeing what's going to be affected here. Let's try bringing this back down. Okay. Let's try a 0.1 just to see kind of where it ends up. Alright, so we're actually having an interesting problem here where it is showing the rest of this first. So unless I want to do this the hard way, which is doing it on this itself and setting up separate render layers like I did on the original one, our accent here is just going to be kind of purpley. But I don't know, personally I liked the accent, adding that little accent and then having it just like glow ever so slightly. But at the same time I do really like just the crisp, clean look, because it does make it look a little fuzzy and out of focus. So I don't know, maybe we'll keep it, maybe we won't. Ugh. This is the part where it's nice to be doing a time lapse instead of a live commentary type thing on this, because when I do this and I have to make a decision on something, it doesn't go quite as smoothly as on the other things. There we go. Let's just drag those so those match. Yeah, so it's definitely making it look a lot more red, which I don't necessarily like. So one way that we could fix this is we could go ahead and add in that, where is it? The filter, no, converter, this math. Actually, let's, yeah. So if we add this in, actually, I don't think this is the way we're going to be doing it, but if we add in, yeah, we're going to have to do this by multiplying. But if we multiply this by, let's say, 0.9, then that should bring down the red value, but it also makes this start to look a little bit greenish the lower this goes. Kind of a greenish, bluish, turquoise type thing, which is not what we want. Because we only want to affect the outside bits. So like if we look at this, we only want to affect the upper end here. And then if you look at this carefully, you can actually see that this is about the same color as this in some spots. So yeah, this just isn't going to work. We're not going to be able to edit just these alone and the glow, which is the big part, without editing the rest of this, which is very unfortunate, unless we go ahead and do this, set the mix to 1. So again, that makes it so it only shows this. Then we can go ahead and make our adjustments here. And we can actually do a couple cool things. So we can go ahead and add that to the original and then plug this in. And if I can get this to go on correctly, what that should do is separates the two, but we still get this purpley thing here. But now the cool thing that we can do is we can actually duplicate this and put this onto the green there. And then, let's see, let's go ahead and add the green here as well. Alright, so basically what this will do, actually, no, we want this coming from the red one still, because that way it won't affect the green as much. That makes it a lot more yellow, significantly more yellow. So that's too much yellow. So what we can actually do is we can add in another multiplier here, and we can multiply this down, kind of like bring it down a bit, and that should change our color back towards the orange that we wanted, our original orange. So this is probably around a 0.3. Because I believe that's what the original color was. It was completely all the way up red, and then 0.3 on the orange, or the green, and then 0 on the blue. So 1.3, but I can check it, but I don't really want to. Let's try 0.1 actually, because that's so much too yellow. That's still too yellow. 0.1, I didn't push for 0.14. Freaking heck. The important thing to notice here is that this is looking much more orange and less purpley than it was before, because now we have that green added in to bring it up and make it a bit more yellow. So this is what it looks like about, I'm thinking it's going to be about 0.05, because that's still much brighter orange than this is. Just trying to match these colors here. Even that's too much. Maybe 0.01. Is it really that little? Okay, yeah, that's about the same color now. Maybe even a bit more red, but that could be just the glow. But personally, I don't think I like this because again, even here still, you're going from the orange and mixing that in with the blue. Like even once we get this to the right color, not just red, it still is purpley and almost reddish out here now. This pinkish purpley, which I don't really like that. So I think we're just gonna leave it stock like this. Probably. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so the other thing that I could do is I could adjust some of the background settings, or the look of the background a bit. Change some things, make it look interesting. But for now, let's go ahead and just grab all of this stuff, grab it, throw it up out of the way, and let's cut these ends, just cut it off there. And then let's go ahead and add in, just because I'm curious, I believe it's in color Invert. Wow, that looks really interesting. Like I don't see any of this like background change of colors. Maybe if we bring down the factor a bit. If I set this to 0.5, it should be just right in the middle, right? Yeah, just totally gray. That is really strange though that it doesn't show the background perfectly. Huh. Interesting. Okay, well I'm not going to be inverting it, but I think this is kind of where we're going to end up here for our channel art. The next thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to scale this to their proper size, because YouTube only accepts certain things. Also, we're going to be doing this for Twitch, which, yeah, my Twitch needs some work, needs some serious work. So we're going to actually do a couple things here. First, we're going to pull up Pandora so I can listen to music. Then if we jump back into YouTube and also Twitch, my channel, then here, let's go, let's see, how do I do this? If I just go to here, there we go. Then this should, yeah, should have all this. So can we just get that out of here? So let's go ahead and add in some panels. So we can do a couple things here. It looks like they changed the way this works, so all the info is just below instead of on a separate button. That's been a while. But we still even have this really, really old picture here, so we're definitely going to change that. Speaking of which, we need to go ahead and render out the O's. Make those looking great. So for that, we can do a couple things. We can leave it on this blue background, or we could go ahead and set it on the black background or a white background. But the first thing to do here is to actually jump in here, grab the pieces of the O, duplicate it, then move it to a blank layer. This one's blank right now. So if we just go to this fourth layer and render this out, this is what it looks like right now. Gonna want some lighting in there. I'm thinking probably just as simple. Let's go ahead and move that there. I'm thinking just a simple 3-point lighting setup should be good enough. Let's go and center this so it's not doing all sorts of wonky stuff when I orbit around it. There we go. So if we do that, okay, right, because that's right there. Let's move that up a bit. Thinking, let's have our primary light maybe like around here. And let's grab another one and have it out for an accent. Then this guy can be out here for an accent. So that, yeah, that looks about right. However, it is very flat. So we're gonna actually bring this guy in and bring this guy in a lot. Maybe this guy in a bit more even. Just so I get that kind of gradient look across the O's. So going from lighter to darker here. You can see it a little bit here, but it's very subtle. I just don't want it to look flat. Okay, yeah, that looks about good. So now we can do a couple things here. Let's go ahead and uncheck these, make a new render layer for this. Yeah, that should be good. So if we were to, okay, first thing we need to do, we need to jump into compositing again. Then we need to go ahead and set the accent color here back to this guy, because that is currently what our thingamajigger is. Another thing I could do is add in another camera so it focuses better on this O here, because right now you can see this is the frame, and then we have this itty bitty thing and all this empty space around it. But since this is rendering at 4K and profile pictures can be relatively small, I think we'll be fine and just leave it. Not worry about all the extra settings and stuff that I need to do that. So if we go ahead and just render this as is right now, we will get this, and then we can jump back into our render layers here. And then we can do some quick little sneaky editing. We'll duplicate this, grab this, because this is, oh wait, no, we have a new render layer, so we actually have to make a new one here. This one is just called render layer right now, because that's what it's default at. Then it goes into the bottom one to be on top, I believe. And then let's go ahead and set our viewer node here. Yep, so that way, yep, there we go. So it's showing up on a green background, which obviously I don't want. That looks, that hurts your eyes a bit. So let's go ahead and try a white background. I do like that. I'm not going to lie. I do like that. It looks really clean. Let's try a black one though. No, maybe an in-between type gray, so maybe a 0.15. Oh wait, no, that's what we have that set to. So it'd have to be a lighter gray or a darker gray. I do kind of like that darker gray. But at the same time, that white just, it looks clean. It looks crisp. Crisp. Yeah, let's go for that. So we're going to go ahead and save this as new PP for profile picture. And then we should be able to go in here into our Twitch. Oops, that's not, no. If we click on this, actually edit, that's what we want. Change avatar. Upload new image. And we're going to go ahead and browse here. Go to desktop, Blender renders. Then in here it should be under new and it's going to be up right here. Okay, so that's going to upload there. That may actually take a while, so let's go ahead and start the YouTube too. Right there. The problem with this is it is going to let us choose exactly what we want. Okay, that actually uploaded a poor quality image, so we may have to actually go through the trouble to edit this. Let's go ahead and just try it, see what it looks like. That looks clean. That looks really clean. I think it's probably fine. Why did this stop uploading? I'm gonna go ahead and drag this over to this side. Okay, so that did not work for the Twitch. It's just showing this weird thing here now. So we're going to have to go ahead and edit the camera and bring down the quality a bit, which is going to be a pain in the butt, but it needs to be done. So let's go ahead and jump back into the default because it's going to be easier to do here. So first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that our camera or our viewport is directly from overhead. Then we'll add a camera in. Then we'll set this as the main Y, but Control 0, grab it on the Z axis, bring it up a bit. Now what we're going to actually do is we're going to set this, we're going to add in a new render preset and just call it new. Okay. And then we're going to change this up a bit. So right now if it's 4K, okay, great. All those are working great. So new, we are going to set this to a square resolution, maybe 1000 pixels by 1000. Then we can go ahead and grab this on the x-axis, maybe 0.6, and grab it on the z to bring this up close enough. Okay, so that's actually going to bring in a new thing that I hadn't thought about. Because we're going to be changing this, it's going to change the perspective, and when we render it, you're going to see more of this inside loop, which I don't know that I want. So let's go ahead and grab this on the Y, line this up a bit better. Let's just do the final little tweaks here. So if we do it like that, yeah, I don't like this. You get some harsh shadows here. So we're going to go ahead and just abandon that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go in here to our folder. Let me find this really quickly. Blender. That's resources. I want renders. Then if you grab this new one, pull it up here. What we can actually do is we can actually just edit this here, which is really easy. So just crop and rotate, and then bring it in. And then this should upload the higher quality, and it'll still keep the same perspective as the original one was in. So it won't look any different or wonky. You'll still have all the same different textures here. We are going to want to keep this relatively square though, so it has room above and below. Just to give me a little room to play with. So let's go ahead and save that. Save a copy. We'll just keep it here on desktop just so it's easy to find. And then let's go ahead and grab the browser here and try editing this again. Upload new image, browse, desktop, and then new PP. That is it. Once this uploads, hopefully it'll give me an option to crop it and get it the right thing. No, it did not. Okay, so we're gonna actually have to adjust this again because of reasons. Let's grab this. So right now it's actually off-centered. It has more space over here, so we're gonna have to actually crop this and do it properly. No, I don't want to draw. No, I want to edit this. There we go. Crop and rotate. So we're gonna line up the two sides here. Try to make sure we have it lined up and down as well. We can do that by looking at the accents pretty well, I feel. This needs to come over a bit more. Bit more, actually. About there. That should be centered. That looks centered. So we're going to go ahead and just save this and then try re-uploading it here. Change this, upload new image, and we'll just grab that same one because we just saved it instead of saving a copy. So that should change this here. Yep, looks pretty centered now. Yeah, that looks good. That looks really good. So let's go ahead and do the same thing here. Yeah, just because I feel like it uploaded a poorer quality. Well, it's about the same, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. Then the other thing here we're going to do is we're going to change the background. As much as I like this and it looks super cool, this actually tells a lot more about me than you'd think. Then what do I have here? Oh wow, this is a really, really old render. I want to actually show this to you guys here really quick. This was from, let's see, no, where is it? Where is it? That one, I worked hard on it. It took a while, but I feel like it turned out really well, actually. Did I throw it in resources? Logo? No, I did not throw it there. It's not going to be there. It's not going to be there. Oh, it actually may be over here in this other folder. Let me just... Sorry, just give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, I have no idea where it went. But this looked really cool, and it had like the smoke in the background, which was actually another effect I was thinking of throwing in there, but I figured it'd just boot render times through the roof. And as it took almost 8 hours as it was, or almost 9 hours as it was, like, it just wasn't worth it to me to try to do something like this again. So we're gonna go ahead and edit this, upload a new image. Hopefully it's not too big here. Then this should be in my renders folder again. right there. File too large. Okay, so this is less than 3 megabytes. Let's see, what's the current size of this? It is a 4K image, so it is going to be very large. I don't think it's smaller than 3 megabytes. Let's see, right now it is 4.2 something megabytes. So we're actually going to just go ahead and jump back in Blender. This should be relatively easy to fix. If we jump out of this and go back to 1 and set this as our main camera again, and then change this to 1080, that should fix our problem. So if we go ahead and jump into compositing, set everything here back up again. Oh, it is already set up. Just render this. Wait. We need our background and our lights. There we go. Now we should be able to render this out and have it look... No. That's not at all what the camera is showing, is it? Control 0, set this. Okay, I had the wrong camera set. Oops. Actually, I may have the wrong camera here again. We want this camera. Then let's go ahead and jump to the end frame and render this out. So now this should be the right one. Let's see, I don't think I can just upload this one straight here either. We can go ahead and try, but I have a hunch it won't work as well just because it is a 4K. Well, I don't know, YouTube does support 4K stuff, so there's a very good chance it'll support this, yeah. So that just goes in there like that. Oh. Okay, that looks fine. That looks great, actually. So let's go ahead and reload this. See if that updates. It didn't. So this may take a while to show up, but I think that's good. Let's go ahead and just close that then. Let's check on our render. See, it should be done here now. It looks like it is. Oh, no, it's not, because I changed the render layers, so it didn't even render the stuff we needed to be rendering. Alright, but this should take significantly less time because it's rendering a fourth of the image size. So this shouldn't take too long, at least not compared to what the 4K one took, which was like almost 2 minutes a frame. So yeah. And the next thing, once we get this done, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add some panels in here, do a little bit of info, do some stuff like that, make some cool text image thingies for each of the sections. Like, for example, I have a my rig system panel here. So yeah. Alright. Yeah, so I'll just have an image at the top that says like my rig and then put all my stuff there, and we'll get that rolling. But that's stuff that isn't really belonging in this specific video here, because this one's more about the creative process and doing stuff. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw this as new logo 1080. Then now we should be able to do this. We grab the 1080 one. That should be small enough. I didn't even check, but it should be. Should absolutely be small enough. Okay, that looks good. So we're gonna go ahead and just leave that like that. And with that said, I have been recording for let's see, what's the timer here? 56 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure and leave a like. Yeah, I spent a lot of time recording this, and yeah, it was a little bit different just because of stuff. The editing shouldn't be too hard for this, but it's still going to be pretty long. Let's go ahead and save this and then jump out of here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure and comment down below about what you think of the new logos. If there's something that you preferred that I didn't do, go ahead and tell me that below too, just because I'm curious to see other people's opinions. Even if I don't necessarily end up following what you say, I'm still curious. So go ahead and leave your stuff down in the description, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace out.